ladies, it's Elisa, and I am sorry that I have basically fallen off the planet for the last 2 weeks, but the biggest update I have for you guys is that Sawyer's here. That's right, I gave birth. I have a baby. I have a son. So that's really exciting news. And you might be saying, "Oh, Elisa, you look so fabulous. Look at, you've got makeup on and everything. Well, what's your secret? When was he born?" Well, the reason that I look so fabulous right now is that I actually gave birth on Saturday, June 25th, 2016. So one day early from his due date. But I have actually spent every day for the past, since that Thursday, so the 23rd, in the hospital because Sawyer is actually still in the NICU. So, what do I have to tell you guys? This isn't going to be a very long update, and unfortunately, I don't have Sawyer here to show you. We are at home, but we are at home without our boy. He is still in the hospital. Okay, short and sweet. I thought that my water had broken. There was no gush. It just seemed like I wasn't peeing myself because I hadn't really had that problem. Just little bouts of incontinence, but it wasn't regular. And I was basically ruining underwear or shorts every few minutes for the entire evening. So I thought that it could have just been that, and we went to the hospital. We were there for hours, and it checked out that I did in fact break my fluid, but because I went in so late and my fluid had broken so many hours previously, unbeknownst to me, I had to stay in the hospital. In addition to Sawyer, I did have one contraction while I was being monitored in the hospital that night, and while I had the contraction, Sawyer's heart rate dipped, and so they were not going to let me leave. So basically, that was Thursday night at about midnight that we went into labor and delivery, fully intending to be sent home, and we were not. And then I spent the next 2 days in labor. So I can't really talk about it yet without crying. So I'm not going to talk about it. I just wanted to give you guys an update that I have not fallen off the planet. Sawyer James is here, and he is beautiful. And what else? Short snippets that I can give you. I was videotaping, videotaping, that's not even a thing anymore. I recorded a few bouts while we were in the hospital in labor, but nothing since then, because it was horrible. I don't want to scare any of you ladies that are pregnant. It was every pregnant woman's worst nightmare of a labor and delivery story and a birth experience and the subsequent everything else. Nothing went to plan, and that's common, but it was horrible. So the only good thing that came out of it is that at 5:51 a.m. on Saturday, he was born. He was there and in my arms for a few minutes at least. But I will go into more details about that in the future. The biggest news right now is that he's here, and he's awesome. But he does have a lot of health issues that they are not going to let him leave the NICU. He was actually transferred from our local Kaiser to one about 35 minutes away from our house, to be seen by several specialists, a cardiac specialist, and they just have a higher level NICU there. So that's where he is. And luckily, Kaiser has a policy that if your child is in the NICU, you can actually stay in the hospital. You can't stay necessarily in the same suite, the postpartum suite, but they do find a room for you in the hospital if one is available. So we actually spent a few days in the postpartum wing, and then we had to be moved up a floor into a pediatric wing. So that's where we are now, and he is there. We are getting breastfeeding underway. His health issues are not terminal. They are not fatal. He is not going to die. But they are serious, and they will not let him leave until some of them have resolved themselves. So that's that. And I will post things in the future, obviously. They think that he may be out in a week. He may not be out in a week. It's really, how well Sawyer's doing, and it's really dependent on how fast he heals, if he heals. And his cardiac problems most likely will be something that we can be treated outpatient, and if surgery is required, it won't be required immediately. It won't be infant surgery. It might be something that just has to happen later in the years. So without going into all that kind of detail, he's great, guys. He's beautiful. Labor, however, is not beautiful. I did end up having to go on Pitocin, and I was for hours and hours of Pitocin contractions. I did end up getting an epidural. Any woman who doesn't get an epidural, I think, is crazy. Or any woman who's on Pitocin contractions that doesn't get an epidural is crazy. But to each his own. And after over 4 hours of pushing, at about the 3.5 hour mark, they said, it's time to make a decision whether you want a cesarean or we're going to try the vacuum. And at first, I immediately said cesarean because the risks that they give you with a vaginal delivery in the vacuum are horrifying. I won't explain them here or now. But we did end up going with the vacuum, and apparently that's all that little Sawyer needed, was that little tiny suction, and popped right out. And I say that phrase with all the lightness in the world because it was not about popping. And yeah, and there he was, he was purple, but a little purple bundle of joy that immediately started screaming and wiggling around, and he's here, and he's the best thing I've ever done. So, again, without getting too emotional, he is in the NICU tonight. We've been at the hospital for, today it will have been a week straight, with only leaving to go get food and stuff like that. So we decided to take tonight and come back to our house and regroup. Obviously pack clothing, because we did not plan for a week-long hospital stay. We planned for an overnight hospital stay, and that was not what we're going to be getting. So I am repacking. We're going to get a good night's sleep. I'm pumping. That's another silver lining to this whole awful, awful birth experience, is that my breasts are apparently overachievers. My colostrum came in pretty quick. I got tons of it, and now I am producing milk like a champion. It's great. And Sawyer, although we are having feeding issues, it's mostly to do with, because of his health issues, he's so sleepy. It's hard to get him to feed for very long if he feeds at all. But his latch is perfect, and he's doing really well. He's definitely on the upswing. So he also has a slight case of jaundice, but that is too healing itself. They didn't even have to put him under the lights. So that's a general overview of everything that happened. I can't even talk to my father about our birth experience. It was horrible. And immediately after the baby was born, I hemorrhaged very severely. And the best thing that I can say about the whole experience is that I married the right man. Brian was the very best coach, and I don't think that I could have done it without him, because although my mom and his mom were there and they were walking me through it too, Brian was just the biggest badass ever and the best husband, and I couldn't have made it through 4 hours of pushing, but because I had 4 hours of pushing, my eyes, by the time Sawyer was born, were almost swollen shut. I couldn't really see much of anything or very far. I saw the baby, I saw the doctor's head vaguely between my legs and Brian, and that's all that I saw. Obviously, it's been a week, or it's been 5 days now, and my swelling is almost completely gone. I've got makeup on now, right, so that you can't really tell that my eyes were they're black and hugely swollen here, hugely swollen here. My face was really swollen. It was awful, and I will probably post pictures in my birth story video when that comes up. But I just wanted to let you guys know that he's here, and I am a full-time mom, and he's beautiful. And I will post pictures and compile my video, hopefully when we get him home. So you guys probably won't hear from me for a couple weeks, but know that he's here on this planet, and he's getting better every day, and I hope that everyone's birth experience is a million times better than my birth experience. Again, I'll go into more detail about that later, but I just had to make peace with the fact that nothing went to plan, and not everything does, but every family has a story, and this is ours. So that's where we're at. If you guys could keep Sawyer in your thoughts, and if you pray prayers, that would be great, because he still needs help. He's still working on becoming the strongest little boy he can be. But, oh, his stats, I'll give those to you guys. I gave birth vaginally with an epidural and a vacuum assist to a 9-pound and 4-ounce baby that was 19.5 inches long. And looking at him the few days following the birth, I could not believe that that little being that was not little was inside me, especially that he's in the NICU compared to so many children that are so small. He is basically a toddler, and he was ginormous. But he's just a chunky, monkey, fat little boy, and pinker and pinker every day, and perfect. Oh, and just as a side note, because that's all it really is to us right now, he does, in fact, have Down syndrome. They can't confirm it yet because they sent out his blood work the day he was born, but it does take a while for that to come back. But he has all the physical markers of the hands and the slight eyes and stuff. But other than that, he's here, and he's great. Even with the Downs, he's absolutely perfect. He is perfect, and he's the only thing that made that whole nonsense worth it. But yeah, so I will be talking to you ladies, the mother of a little boy, and I will hopefully get my birth story out to you guys soon. So yeah, good luck to all of you guys out there, TTCing, pregnant, all of that. I wish you all the very best, and I hope to speak to you all soon, because I do miss the community a lot. I haven't been able to watch any videos or anything, but, you know, life is a mom. So, I'll be talking to you ladies. Bye.